Zach, take us through how things went yesterday at the NovaCare complex, how those decisions were made, and the reaction in the locker room.
Yeah, the headline is, as you mentioned, the starters or the key starters will not play in this game. That includes Saquon Barkley. So Saquon Barkley's bid to break Eric Dickerson's record ends 101 yards short, or 100 yards short of Dickerson, 101 yards short of the record. He finishes the season with 2,005 yards.
I read otherwise.
Nick Sirianni spoke with Saquon Barkley, spoke with veterans on the team, spoke with obviously Howie Roseman. Him and Howie were doing this together. Other assistant coaches, even Jeffrey Lurie. They made the determination that the Eagles are going with rest here. They are resting their key players. As Lane Johnson said, it also avoids injury. Lane kept referring to what happened to A.J. Brown last year as an example. But so that happened. The players were informed yesterday morning. Nick Sirianni informs the media, the public, shortly thereafter. Then in the locker room afterwards, you get reaction, including from Saquon Barkley. And I thought Saquon Barkley's reaction was honest. You were there front and center. Saquon, he said he's come to peace with this, but he said when he went to sleep on Sunday night, it wasn't a big deal to him. On Monday, it was a big deal to him. Or it
not a big deal, but
it mattered.
He had changed his mind.
Yes.
On Sunday, he said he didn't really care about it. And then on Monday, he decided, you know what? If we're going to go for it, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And I thought it was.
I thought that was honest. I thought that was. I appreciated that.
Exactly. He said he's on board with this. He said to a question that Bo asked that he didn't sign here to break Eric. He told his family this. He didn't sign here to break Eric Dickerson's record. He signed here to win a Super Bowl. That said, I thought it was interesting when he was speaking about. This might have been a question you asked about who took it the hardest in his family. Yeah. And he said his father. He said he definitely wanted me to play. Selfishly for him, you got to think about it. For however long, if it took a year for someone to break it or another 40 to 50 years, our last name would have been attached to that, which I thought is a very poignant sentiment. And then he spoke a lot about the different players on the list. Like he was actually, I have a piece that came out yesterday on his. I teased it too often on the show, but his appreciation for the history of running backs. And I thought that came through in how he was speaking yesterday, because he even said, no disrespect to Eric Dickerson, but like the record he really thinks, or the stats he thinks
was
are
walking a tightrope, but you could tell he was like, the Dickerson record is nice, it's there, but it's not the most impressive season.
Yeah, he said O.J. Simpson because it was done in 14 games, and Barry Sanders is the yards per carry.
Yes. Which, as you chronicled on All PHLY for the diehards, Saquon Barkley very clearly is someone who is like well versed and has thought a lot about running back history.
Exactly, and that was apparent throughout what he was saying. Like there was one point where I said no one has done this twice, or I guess rushed for 2,000 yards twice. Does it occur to you that you might not have this opportunity again? And he knew exactly how many yards Derrick Henry needs to catch up to him. He actually spoke to Derrick Henry yesterday.
Okay.
Derrick Henry wanted to see if he was playing. He told Derrick Henry, go make history here. But Barkley's like, why can't he be the first guy to do it? Being him, Saquon. So the one sentence summation, and you were right there front and center, so correct me if I interpret this incorrectly, is that it certainly seems like he would have loved to break that record, but that he understands intellectually, logically, why they're doing this.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now he was also asked about like physically, how is he holding up? He said like his body doesn't feel like he's run for 2,000 yards. He would not be. He doesn't need the rest necessarily. No, the Eagles have their own data on his body and stuff like that. And obviously, as we talked about, it's not just Saquon. You're not exposing him. You're exposing everybody else who has to play in order to get him ready for the record. It's a little bit disappointing just from a romantic standpoint, but I do think it is the sober decision. And I think Lane Johnson was very good on this. Like, Lane has been here for a lot of things, a lot of like great teams, a lot of bad teams, a lot of like individual accolades, and he seemed to me unbothered by the idea. He's like, Barry Sanders could have had many more yards if he had run more times. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over the record. Now, that's not the guy who, as you said, is going to have his name, his family name atop that list forever. But I think I was happy that Saquon was honest enough about it. I don't think that he is like he's upset about this, but it's interesting. And obviously like what they do in the playoffs is gonna reframe this decision somehow.
No, I actually was taken aback by how much anger there was too with like the fan base. Like I feel like there was a lot of the responses. There was a lot of people that were saying, "Hey, like this was the smart decision," and a lot of people like they better win a parade. They better have a parade. They better win a trophy off this. And I'm like, man, like to me, I kind of go. I know Dana is always kind of leans that he's much more interested in just the team oriented goal side of it. And as a fan, like rooting for the individual accolade, he kind of gets detached from that. But I was surprised by some of the anger and the vitriol that came from this decision as well.
Yeah, I understand it, and I get why they're doing the decision. I mean, they're making. You said the sober one. You can say the sensible one, the logical one.
Yeah.
I will kind of conflate this or bring this in with also the Pro Bowl conversation, which is there's this pushback always where it's like, well, the Pro Bowl doesn't really matter, or like these individual records don't really matter. And I think when you do that, sometimes you lose the human element of it. Like it matters to Saquon. Like the Pro Bowl, it has its flaws, of course. It matters to these guys. Like you see the videos of like, Zay Flowers and something. It matters to these people, right? And I think that, I thought Saquon had a really cool answer when you asked him about doing against the Giants. Bo had a lot of good questions yesterday. And
I was in a good position.
And you asked good questions too. It's not just being there; it's taking advantage of being there. There's a lot of people who are front and center who like didn't ask questions.
Ooh, shots fired.
No. No, it's the nature of when someone's by their locker. There's a lot of cameras. Yeah,
I have to say, I was trying to get you to get that spot. No, I was trying to like save a spot for you to get front and center. Yeah. But it got too crowded.
The challenge for me is I really value eye contact.
That's why I was trying to get you there.
And you can't have eye contact when you're poking around. But anyways, his answer to the Giants thing was that it
would have meant a lot, but not for the reason that is framed in the media.
Because
there's a lot of people on that sideline from trainers and coaches and other stuff who have helped him get to where he is today. Like, worked hard through his ACL recovery.
Exactly.
And he said he took them through the ringer. And so it's like that would have made it full circle for him.
And that's the point that I'm trying to convey here is it's not just the name in a record book. It's like what it takes to get there for these guys. If you're Saquon Barkley and everything you've been through for the last 3 decades of your life, 2+ decades, but in addition to that, you just think about your NFL career and this roller coaster that he's been on and tearing the ACL and these underperforming seasons and everything that happened with the franchise tag and free agency, and like to be in this spot, it's rewarding. Like to have that opportunity, it's like you earned it. That's the thing. No one gives you that rushing record. You earn it. And so from a human level, like I get it, and as you said, as both of you said, I appreciated the honesty because, like, I think there is something revealing about that.
Yeah, I also think that we've tried to frame it as like, well, it's not just Saquon's award. Like this is the offensive line's award, and Mailata had talked about that. I think that's wrong. Like as history washes things away, like those guys can take pride in that, but it's Saquon Barkley's record.
All silly like the mayor.